And so, um, good morning and welcome to Policing TV, where I am delighted to be joined by Rhys Dickinson. Rhys, thank you so much for joining us on Policing TV.
No worries. Good morning.
Rhys is a trustee and ambassador of the charity Embrace Child Victims of Crime, which is the only UK national charity that is solely focused on supporting children and young people who have been the victims of serious crime. Now, Rhys, there's a particular reason why you are an ambassador for Embrace. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I became an ambassador for Embrace and a trustee after when I was a young child. So from the age of 6 till I was about 11, I was a victim of physical and sexual abuse for a number of years by a man close to my family, and went through sort of that experience that caused sort of a lot of trauma, sort of mentally and emotionally, for me. So Embrace was there to support me after what I'd been through.
And so some considerable challenge, putting it mildly, in coming to terms with that in due course. And I imagine quite some challenge in sharing that experience with others, whether your immediate family or later on as your life developed.
No, absolutely. It was definitely one of those things of initially first being able to tell my mum, who I told, was the hardest thing. But once I told my mum, we went to the police, and then I told them my story again, which was challenging, and then obviously had to go through the process and go and give evidence in court about what I'd been through, those experiences, sort of reliving that. And I was massively supported by Essex Police and other organisations, victim support through that process, which was really, really helpful. And then Essex Police also then nominated me to get support from Embrace as well.
So the sorts of support that Embrace and others, you mentioned Essex Police, you mentioned victim support, make available to child victims of crime. What sorts of things are made available through the work of the charity in particular?
So Embrace provides sort of practical and emotional and even financial support at times to children that have been harmed by crime, and also to their families in supporting them to get their lives back on track. So I was sort of nominated to the charity by the team at Essex Police that was dealing with my case at the time, and the charity supported us, myself, and the rest of my family, with going on a trip with others who had been through sort of similar experiences. And that was the first time I sort of really felt like I wasn't alone. I wasn't the only one that had actually been through this experience. There was other people similar age to me that had been through that. So it felt good to have other people that were in my situation and kind of understood that. And then from there, I then got emotional support, so counselling services, which for me sort of really then started to help me actually understand the emotions, because being such a traumatic experience and happening at such a young age, you don't really know how to process these things. And the charity offering that sort of emotional support and counselling services is kind of crucial to recovery, and getting life back on track. And for me, that was probably the most beneficial thing, having that initial trip where you didn't feel alone, but then to get that emotional support as well, really enabled me to then go on and start to achieve what I really wanted to in life as well.
What sorts of ages then are Embrace providing support to? You mentioned that I think you said, were 11 when you
Yeah.
first broke the news to your mother, if I can put it that way. But so would you have been about the youngest that Embrace would have been supporting, or is it an even wider age range
No,
now?
even it's even sort of wider than that. From children very very young, so there's no sort of lower age limit in terms of the children that the charity supports up until the age of 18. That the charity will support them, and then also there's not just about supporting the child, but actually providing support to the family, whether that's siblings or the parents or guardians of those children, to give them and enable them to give the support to the child as well, because it's not always just an experience and a traumatic experience for that individual. It's for the whole family as well. So it's about enabling that family to come back together and rebuild their lives as well.
Now, the services that Embrace provide, there's a lot of voluntary support to that, but clearly there are also costs which needs to be covered, funds that need to be raised, which come through personal donations and also through corporate sponsorship, including from Policing TV's own channel sponsor, Altia. Now, what sorts of things can corporate or individuals wishing to provide support to Embrace do? How do they go about discovering more about the support that they can provide?
So Embrace has a head of income generation. So she works with all of our corporate sponsors. We have what we call the Embrace 100 Club, where we have bringing on corporate sponsors and other sponsors as well to be part of that 100 Club of sponsors with a sort of donation to enable these services. But you don't have to be a part of the 100 Club. There's opportunities to do lots of fundraising, whether that's like Ride London, which is a big bike ride. We always have places in the London Marathon, which I know there's a number of individuals from police forces across the country that have taken part in that before. So there's a lot to do. I knew there was a police force, I think it was Essex Police Force, that did a trek to Snowdon and raised £30,000 as well for the charity. So there's a lot that you can do, whether it's even just a bake sale, a quiz. There's a lot of ways to get involved, and Emma, who's the head of income generation, will work with those organisations to develop plans and help support that activity as well.
I find it quite remarkable that Embrace is the only national charity that's a UK national charity solely focused on supporting children and young people who've been the victims of serious crime. So, statement of the bleeding obvious, but it is clearly a hugely worthwhile charity to support. Thank you for sort of setting out how those watching can go about supporting. Can I also take this opportunity, Rhys, to thank you for sharing those uh, traumatic experiences earlier in your life with Policing TV viewers, to wish you well, and also to wish those supporting and working within Embrace all the very best in the continued work that you do in support of those children and young people. So, Rhys Dickinson, thank you so much.
No, thank you. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.